Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are across this great wide world of ours. I'm going to do a little bit more exploring into this reservation on how the reservations need to be revamped. I watched a YouTube video today, and though I'm not going to say the source or whatever, but it was talking about the pedigree satellite, and this individual was talking about how the reservation, or the leader on the reservation, was talking about how putting remains on the moon or would be desecration of put human remains on the moon, because they see the Navajo see it as a sacred place. And I dealt with this some years back when I was a forester out west, where we had a truck, a tree truck or a tree pruning company, go over desecrated grounds and actually cause damage on its sacred grounds. And consequently, what I ended up doing, I had to let the crew, especially the foreman and two foremans, go, because the fact of the matter is they had the map and they knew that they shouldn't be on that land, and yet they drove on the land. So it was total disregard for the Native American culture, the Native American ground. And then I was thinking today how there's this misunderstanding or this misinformation that exists between the white culture and the Native American culture, and either culture cannot understand what's going on. And the issue becomes there has to be common ground there to understanding. But the consequence of this video, it really made the Navajo look bad, but it's really the individual really didn't understand the culture itself, and it did excuse me, made the information that the Navajo was conveying to NASA not necessarily concerned. But my first thought when I heard this, wasn't that line of communication open prior to this satellite, or this robotics going off to the moon open? And my guess is here that it wasn't open, and that really somewhere, and I've always been a big believer that you hear two sides of every story, and really the truth lies in the middle, not necessarily on the end. But the point with this, the individual, is it kind of gave a bad light on the Navajo Indians on their reservations. There again, I can see this myself with the views that I'm getting on my video, that people are not cognitive of the issues that exist on the Navajo, or even on any other reservations for that matter out west. And there's always the issue becomes the majority of the population live on either the East Coast or the West Coast. So anything that falls in between really goes sight unseen, or really hard to understand. And and the point here is that the people don't understand the culture, and on both ends. And then this is where I always say there's this loss of communication or loss in translation that occurs. But my cusp about all this is, there again, we're not really empowering ourselves to learn more about the culture, and we're not empowering Native Americans. What in essence we've really done is we have really put people in authority and maybe not necessarily understand what is going on. And it's just, I don't know if it's such a mindset in itself, and the issue that becomes is are we creating, and excuse me about that, what's called, are we creating a culture? Are we helping people, or are we hindering the development of reservations? And there again, this goes back to what I've said, that we're not really focusing on the issue of the reservations itself in the present tense, but on the reservations as they existed in the 18th and 19th century. And there again, like I said, this goes to my views that I see on here, that we need to look at what we're trying to achieve, and really there's this misunderstanding or misinterpretation exists about reservations. I watched another video of another person that was talking about stray dogs on the reservation, and the individual was talking about that the problem was the reservations itself. And then I thought the person was then saying they ended up adopting the dog, but then they took it to get blood work and realized that necessarily it wasn't living on the reservation, that somebody just dropped the dog off. And there again, when I first saw the video the first time, I thought, the person said res, and it's like, first off, it's not res, it's a reservation. And the issue becomes, we put a bad connotation to reservation, and we don't understand it as a white culture. And there again, I think the point, this goes back to the 17th and 18th century, because they're so isolated. They're out in nowhere lands, basically, and they're not within a major population. So people have a hard time understanding that. And there again, like I said, majority of these reservations exist in Arizona, New Mexico, southern Utah, southern Colorado, California, Nevada. And these areas tend to be more isolated than compared to, say, New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, San Francisco. And like I've said, and here, the issue becomes with major populations that exist on both coasts, and majority of the population exists east of the Mississippi as well. So you got more people living east of the Mississippi than you do the west of Mississippi. So it is more or less this misnomer. We talk about reservations and the people on the reservations itself. So there again, I think this is the issue that exists, that it goes with other people and other minorities as well, that some people feel that they're entitled to things, and it's not entitled, but it is more or less, there needs to be an understanding, not this loss in translation. And the goal here, and I've said this before, is educate people, and not necessarily give a bad connotation. But anyway, like I said, these are two videos that I saw earlier this week about showing a limelight on the reservations, or talking about the reservations and not in good terms. And there again, this is a system that was created by the government, and which I honestly think it's redundant, it's not working, and it's not really empowering people to be better their lives. And it's just something that, that we need to really take serious issues about this, and create learning tanks or thinking tanks about how we can make this, because there's still high unemployment, high social strife, low education, etc. And it has not really, it's gotten better, but it's not as better as compared to other societies within the United States. And there again, we have poor drinking water on some of these reservations. They're isolated, so they're not really communicated. And as the government has done in many other projects, we keep funneling money into it. It's the same thing with certain things that come. Let's just keep sticking money into it and see if we can change things. And really, sticking more money into it is not the solution, but it's more or less empowering people to do better in their lives. So, with that said, we need to look at this, and I'm sorry to call coughing, but it's my throat gets dry and the air is very dry, and I apologize for that. But here again, is we got to need to power people to do better and to more understand each other. And I think that's part of the issue that's going on right now with this being an election year, as well, is that we need to come together and create solutions and not necessarily create more divisions within the country. So anyway, please like and subscribe to my channel, and hope to talk to you soon. Anyway, sorry. Again, excuse me about the coughing, but like I said, it's issues with just the dry air. Anyway, thank you. Know that I do have books available online, as well as other things as well. Any comments, reach out to me, bthomasmillerpsych@gmail.com. That's bthomasmillerpsych@gmail.com. And I do have books available online. They're under Boy Thomas Miller and B. Thomas Miller. Anyway, thank you, folks, and I'm sorry about the coughing. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.